Ginny and Georgia Season 3 was left on a massive cliffhanger, and it's safe to say that there was one big question on all of our minds following Georgia guzzling down that milk. Who's the father of Georgia's baby? And with Ginny mirroring her mother's actions and showing that even though Georgia has tried to shape her differently, she can't stop following a similar pathway. So Ginny's story is about to get a whole lot more interesting too, with all of the issues that she and her friends are going to be facing. So with that, I thought it would be worth taking a look at all that's out there, along with giving my theories and predictions on what I think could happen next. So let's get into it. Here is Ginny and Georgia Season 4, Everything We Know. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The release date. Before I get into the release date, the first question that I'm asking is there even going to be a Season 4 of the show, as that could be a barrier. Well, thankfully, Netflix already commissioned the show up until Season 4, so there's no need to head to the panic stations. And in fact, the writers of the show have already been hard at work piecing together the story since earlier on in the year, so they're fully underway when it comes to giving us something for Season 4. Now that we know that the next season has been greenlit, that then begs the question on when the new season could be released. Well, this season kinda broke the trend that the show followed with its previous two seasons, which was a winter release. The first season of the show was released in February of 2021, then the next season released in January of 2023. However, this one opted for an early summer release of June 2025. The best way to predict a release date of a show is to look at the gaps in time between the previous seasons, and it seems like on both occasions it's been around the 2-year mark. The gap between 1 and 2 was a month off of 2 years, and the gap between 2 and 3 was almost 2.5 years. So it's safe to say that they definitely like to take their time with this show. I reckon this could mean that we're looking at a similar gap in time between Season 3 and Season 4, even though they have already started writing it. What's quite interesting is that when you look at the two lead actors, they didn't actually do that much in between the seasons, so it's not like their calendars are super busy, so I do wonder why it took so long last time. But based on what we've had before, I'm going to go for an early to mid 2027 release date, so we've probably got a little while to wait for now, annoyingly. The story. When it comes to what will happen in the next season of the show, I feel like there are going to be a few key focal points. With Georgia getting her craving for milk, which she explained to Ginny happened before when she was carrying her, I think it's safe to assume that Georgia is expecting a baby. But the real question that's out there is, who's the father? I think this is something that we'll see being explored throughout the season, as we know that in the build-up towards the finale, Georgia was intimate with Paul when she was lying to him, and she was also intimate with Joe before she planned on running away. So that leaves two potential fathers in question when the show returns for the next season. Personally, I reckon it's going to be Joe. I say this because it almost feels like Georgia and Paul have had their day. They've had their time together and it concluded in a real toxic way, with Paul almost becoming violent and them not really caring about each other anymore. Whereas with Joe, it seems like he does actually care about Georgia and there are true feelings between them. This has been a relationship that's been hinted at for absolutely ages, and it wouldn't surprise me if they were the endgame relationship in the show, so I reckon that could be the case. Alongside Georgia navigating that, I think we're also going to see her mother and stepfather entering her life, which is going to be extremely problematic for her. We know that she shot her stepfather in the hand because he was abusive towards her, and with them tracking her down, I imagine they're after something specific. Maybe they heard about her inheriting all of that money during the trial, and they're gonna threaten her for some of that. I wouldn't put it past them based on what we've heard about them, so I think that could be the troublesome element in Georgia's story next season. This could also send Georgia into some kind of spiral as well. We saw hints of panic attacks that she was having all throughout the trial, so I reckon that'll make a reappearance and maybe even be worse this time. Another element that I think we'll see getting a key focus is Austin, and the fact that he might resent his sister and his mother for making him lie in court, which has led to his father Gil being sent to prison for a crime that he didn't commit. Austin's never really had a relationship with his father until Georgia went to jail and he got custody of him, and as we heard, it seemed like Austin was actually starting to build a relationship with him and enjoyed staying there. But obviously he had to destroy it in order to save his mother. So I think this will be a key story that will not only impact Georgia, but it will also impact Ginny. With regards to Ginny, we've seen her growing and developing as a person over the course of the 3 seasons as she's gotten older. But with that growth and progression, we've seen her also exhibit traits that are present within her mother. So I think that loyalty that she has for the family, and the phrase is, love is sticking around when things get hard and it's us against the world, it'll show her just how similar she is. She questioned if people could change because she thought that she was destined to turn out like Georgia. So I think we'll see that conflict within her mind. I also think with Marcus getting out of rehab, we'll see the both of them being together this time round because, as we saw, they are in love with each other and clearly care a lot about each other. Marcus just needs to be sober because when he's not, Ginny can't do anything to help him. When it comes to Max, I actually think we'll see her story getting quite a key focus, and I reckon episode 9 was a tease for what's to come. Max is severely struggling, but she's putting on a brave face, being there for the people that matter to her, and she's not getting anything in return. Not a shoulder to cry on, a pair of arms to wrap around her, or somebody to just tell her that everything's going to be okay. So I reckon we'll see her battling with that loneliness and almost taking the place of Marcus in being the character that's got a lot on their mind. It felt symbolic, her going into the garage where Marcus used to spend a lot of the time. With regards to Abby, I think we'll see the eating disorder story reaching its peak, and we'll see that even after Ginny and Nora intervened and addressed it with her, she won't have changed. And we'll see it start to impact her mental and physical health in a detrimental way. I thought it was going to get a key focus in season 3, but it didn't get the development that I thought it would. So I reckon that's because it's slowly been building and developing, and then in the next season it'll reach its peak. I also think we'll see Abby happy in a relationship with Triss, which will be good for the character. Honestly, there are genuinely so many different directions that the next season could go in with regards to the story, but I reckon the overarching themes will be the identity of the baby's father and Georgia potentially being blackmailed for money by her mother and stepfather. The cast. When it comes to the cast, there wasn't really anybody killed off in this season of the show, so that won't be a cause for any major departures. However, with Gil being accused of the death of Tom Fuller, that could potentially be the last we see of his character. But with the importance of the relationship that Austin built with him in season 3, I don't think they'll write him out of the show, and he'll be a present force when it does return. However, with Nick, due to him being fired by Paul, that could be the last we see of him. So I'd say that means, in terms of characters, we'll most likely see Ginny, Georgia, Austin, Marcus, Maxine, Abby, Nora, maybe Silver, Triss, Press, Brody, Jordan, Padma, Hunter, Braysha, Brian, Joe, Paul, Cynthia, Zion, Simone, Lynette, and Gil, almost likely returning to the show. I also imagine there'll be some new characters that get thrown in there too. We were teased with Georgia's father, Georgia's mother, and also her stepfather, so I think they'll all be appearing on screen and be a major part of the story. Wolf also said that he was going to continue to be Ginny's friend, so I think he'll have a place in the next season as well. Unfortunately for now, that's all that's known about season 4 of Ginny and Georgia. It seems like there's loads of time to wait until the next season does get released, so I'm sure more information will slowly be released as we draw ever closer to the release date. So, there you have it, Ginny and Georgia Season 4, Everything We Know.